Chatterley, you're up.
So for those of you who, a lot of you know John already, but I'd like to remind you a little bit more about him and the things that he's done and where he's from and all those other things. So John grew up in the Windsor area, graduated from Windsor High School in 1964, attended Central Missouri State University, receiving his BA in law enforcement in 1968. After graduating from Central Missouri, he embarked on a career in law enforcement for the next 20 years, including stints as chief of police in Ludlow for 3.5 years and 6.5 years as the criminal investigator at the Windsor County State's Attorney's Office. While at the State's Attorney's Office, he attended Vermont Law School and graduated in 1987. He began practicing in 1988 and has been solo practice in Windsor since 1993. His Rotary history: John first became involved in Rotary in 1974 when he joined the Ludlow Club. Left that club in 1976 when a career move took him away from Ludlow and traveling on the road as a consultant for the Vermont Chiefs of Police Association for the next 6 years. He joined the Windsor Rotary Club in 1993, serving as president from 1996 to 1997, and as club treasurer from 1999 to 2006. Since 1999, he served as chairman of their annual penny sale, and since 2001 as chairman of the Memorial Golf Tournament. He served on the board of directors of the club either as an officer or a member at large since 1995, and is a Paul Harris Fellow +1. John and his wife Mary live in Reading, where John has been active in local government for the past 34 years. He served 6 years on the Board of Selectmen, 28 years as the town and school district moderator, 34 years on the Board of Civil Authority, and 29 years as a Justice of the Peace. John and Mary have 3 children, 5 grandchildren, 2 great-grandsons. Hobbies include hunting, reading, and puttering around the property. Please rise and help me welcome John.
No wonder I'm so damn tired doing all that stuff. It's great to be here. As David said, have been involved in Rotary for many, many years. But about 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, something like that, I decided to become more involved on the district level. And the first thing I did was get involved as an assistant district governor. And that was my first time that I really started coming to this club on a fairly regular basis, 4 or 5 times a year, and it's always great to be here. I know my way to White River pretty well from Windsor and Reading and so on, but there are 60 clubs in this district, and I got to tell you, some of them are hard to find, you know, down in New Hampshire and everything anyways. And Mary and I, this is our 23rd club visit, I guess. Since the 1st of July, actually a couple of days before that. Anyways, so I'm headed for a club down in southern New Hampshire here last week or the week before. No idea where they met, but I said, well, I'll stop here. And I swung into a little mini mart, and I went in and I asked the young lady behind the counter where Rotary Club was meeting. And she looked at me like I had 2 heads. She didn't know Rotary from anything, you know? So there was a guy over there, he just got a cup of coffee, and he's standing there, and he says, hey, you're in luck, he says. I'm headed for the Rotary meeting. He says, you can follow me. I said, okay, fine. So we're going out across the parking lot, headed for our cars. He says, yeah, he says, it's going to be a boring meeting today. And I says, he says, yeah, but not many people are going to show up either. He says, they're not going to come. And I says, well, why is that? He says, well, the damn district governor is going to come to visit. So anyways, it's great to be here. As I say, this is our 23rd out of 60 visits that we're going to be doing between now and the end of September. Rotary's theme this year is Rotary Making a Difference. And I think that's a great theme because if you stop and think about it, Rotary makes a difference on the local level, on the district level, on the international level. Rotary makes a difference. You know, there's 2 ways of making a difference. In every community has people who make a difference in a negative way. You know, there's always the naysayers, there's always the ones that don't like what's going on, and so they try to drag things down, put things down, and it's the same worldwide. But Rotary makes a difference in a positive way. Day in and day out, Rotary clubs all over the world, 1.2 million Rotarians, are making a positive difference in their communities and in the world. Several months ago, I asked all of my presidents, club presidents, to send me statistical information, conservative numbers on what their club does for fundraising and service projects. So I got this information. It might be a little difficult to read because there's a whole lot of stuff on there. You need my glasses, George? But the information I got is you do the 10-100, you raise about $4,600, a little more than that. You got the silent auction, you've got the Polar Express, which is a big, huge fundraiser for you. You know, you got Change for Change. I'm not quite sure what that is. The Haven Food and the July 4th barbecue, and probably some others in there. But all told, this club raises about almost $45,000 a year. And over on the right-hand column are the just Rotary hours. Obviously, you can't do the Polar Express without a huge number of volunteers. But I wanted to know how many Rotary hours this club puts together to pull off these various functions. So again, I asked for conservative numbers, and the numbers that I got show all of these activities: your service project for cover, your block parties, your community dinner, your safety fair, glory days of the railroad, backpacks for the kids. All of these service projects and fundraising projects, you spend about 2,374 hours a year. More than that probably, but that's a conservative number. That's just your hours that you put in for your community to make a difference. I took all of those numbers and I've added them together with the other 35 out of 60 clubs have reported back to me so far. So far, last year, the clubs in this district have raised just over $1 million. You can add to that the other 25 clubs, so it's up probably very close to $2 million raised in southern Vermont, southern New Hampshire. Bethel is the furthest north of any of the clubs in Vermont, and it goes across to the Lakes region. There's about 5 clubs over there, and then it goes to the Mass line in both states, but doesn't go all the way to the seacoast. So it's a pretty good area, pretty good geographic area of 60 Rotary clubs, raising almost $2 million, over 127 service projects of those communities. A lot of them are duplicate service projects from one community to another. In a conservative estimate of over 39,000 Rotary hours. And again, you add another probably 25,000 to that and you see some real numbers. That's how Rotary is making a difference. And quite frankly, seeing those numbers is what makes me proud to be a Rotarian, because you are out there making a difference. Now, I venture to say, of the money that this club raises, vast majority of it stays in the White River community. Vast majority of it goes, yes, some of it goes to RI for various things, but the vast majority of it goes to scholarships for the kids in the high school. It goes to the Meals on Wheels program, the senior citizens, the youth league, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, whatever it is, making a difference in this community. I challenge you to name any other service organization in White River that has that kind of an impact overall on the community. Your backpacks for kids. You know, yes, there's other organizations that do those kinds of things, but it's Rotary that carries the ball week in and week out doing those kinds of things. And that's why I say that you should be proud to be a Rotarian. If you weren't proud, you wouldn't be sitting here listening to me, I know, but you've got to get that word out that this is what Rotary is about. Service above self, service to the community. I got to plug a couple of things. The district has a policy that we will not compete against clubs for fundraising activities for district monies, events, with the exception that we run a district-wide golf tournament once a year to raise money for the district. It's coming up on August 18th at the Brentwood Golf Course down in Keene. We ran it down there last year. We had a sold-out event. I hope you've got a team going down. You don't have to be all Rotarians. You can have one Rotarian and 3 ringers. You can have one Rotarian, two duffers, and a ringer. You can have any combination you want. You got to have at least one Rotarian on the team. But for the price of admission, it's well worth going down to support it. Last year, for the first time in many years, the event was sold out. And part of the reason for that was that we're dedicating the funds to Pure Water for the World. Last year, the tournament netted just under $15,000 for Pure Water for the World. Those of you who are not familiar with Pure Water for the World, it's sort of a district homegrown organization. It started by the Brattleboro Rotary Club many years ago, and then evolved, and it's now headed by past District Governor Carolyn Mube out of the Rutland area. And they provide water filtration systems for homes in third world countries and destitute areas, particularly in Haiti. They've gone down there generally twice a year for many years now, installing home water filtration systems in communities in Haiti, and now they have branched out into Honduras. So we're hoping to at least match, if not increase, the amount that we can dedicate to Pure Water for the World from our golf tournament. Thing that's near and dear to my heart, polio. I'm driving back and forth, I think, to Framingham one day last year on my many trips down there for a monthly meeting for the Pets Alliance. And I said, what can I do in the district that's a little bit different? So I came up with this idea. Everybody knows that we're this close or that close or some close to eliminating polio worldwide. The last I knew from the Atlantic Convention, the word was that there are only 5 active polio cases worldwide this year in the world, and 3 of them in Pakistan, 2 of them in Africa. So I said, let's this year, on October 24th, every newspaper in the district run a full-page ad. Across the top, it's going to say Rotary making a difference, World Polio Day. Down the center, run a whole bunch of statistics, such as the fact that polio is a disease that's over 5,000 years old. Up through and into the early 1950s, hundreds of thousands of people, even in the United States, contracted polio, and it was, you know, a very difficult disease. And many of us sitting here in this room can remember getting the polio vaccine when we were in grade school back in the 50s. I certainly can. So we're going to run down through the center where it says End Polio Now, the statistics. 1954, Jonas Salk perfected the polio vaccine, and we started getting vaccinated or immunized. By again, and I don't know the dates, but by the committee that I have formed is putting all this together. Polio was eradicated in the United States in the early 60s, but it was still rampant worldwide, hundreds of thousands of cases worldwide. Still a problem. In 1985, Rotary International took the eradication program worldwide. We were the lead organization, and for many years we were the only real organization who was concentrating on eliminating polio throughout the world. And it was through Rotary's efforts since 1985 that we have come down to the fact that there are only 5 active cases in the world. That's something to be proud of, and I think that that needs to get out there in the public. So we run down the center of the page all of these statistics, and we put a blurb in there, you know, to get people involved in supporting polio eradication, because it's not over, and it won't be over for a lot of years, and it's still going to take a lot of money to finally eliminate it from the world. And then on the outside, you see I've got a bunch of clubs listed. I just picked some out. I got White River up there in the corner. I want to list, let's take the Valley News, for instance, or the Woodstock Standard, or anything else. Run this ad on that day, or if it's a weekly paper, whenever they publish that week, and list the clubs that sponsor that ad. And I asked Phil Camp, who owns the Woodstock paper, what it would cost to run that in his paper, and full page, color ad, so on, and he said about $400. Well, you get 8 clubs together, White River, Bethel, Woodstock, Windsor. I'd even go across the river and grab the Lebanon and Hanover clubs. I don't care who pays for the ad, but everybody kicks in a little bit. We pay for the ad, and I think it would be great advertising and a great way to boost Rotary in the community. I got Abe Lincoln sitting there because one of the things I'd like to encourage clubs to do, and maybe get school kids involved in this, because 5th and 6th graders, I've been told by some teachers and so on, would love to help with this. Go to the local supermarkets or wherever on a Saturday morning for 2 or 3 hours with the buckets. We can borrow them from the Salvation Army, because they won't be using them until Christmas time, and collect pennies for polio, okay? And then pool all that money from all over the district into one lump sum and send it to Evanston for their Polio and Polio Now campaign. As I say, you'll hear more about that from the committee probably in the very near future, that they are working on it. So, International President Risley's thing this year is to plant a tree on Arbor Day, April 27 next year. He wants every Rotarian to go out in their yard or somebody else's yard. If you don't have a yard, go next door, whatever, and plant a tree. Well, I don't think that's going to happen. Quite frankly, I don't see 1.2 million Rotarians going out and doing that. Some of them that own tree farms and so on probably will, but it would be nice if the club could do a symbolic tree, a memorial tree, or something in the community. It doesn't have to be a full-blown maple tree. It'd be nice, you know, being a state tree and so on. But just participate in the program, because if you participate in the program, Rich Hoffman then it's one of the steps, he becomes eligible to get a presidential citation from Ian Risley, okay? And it also helps because he could get an even more prestigious presentation. He would become, if he does a bunch of other stuff, or you do a bunch of other stuff for him, he gets a district governor's award. Huh? Now, you can't hardly beat that.
Sounds good to me. You all do the
Yeah.
work.
He's got a list of the criteria, which I hope he has. If he doesn't, he's going to share it with you as to what he can do. They're all doable things. Lastly, let me wrap it up by talking about what's going to be my district conference next year. It's a joint district conference with District 7980 from Southern Connecticut, as we were just talking about at the table here a while ago. Trish Pearson is the district governor down there. Her district is going to come to Burlington, and we're going to do it at the Hilton Hotel, which is down on the waterfront. Some of you probably went to the Sheraton many years ago, which is out on 89. We're actually down on the waterfront. It's June 1, 2, and 3. We're going to do a dinner cruise on the Spirit of Ethan Allen on Friday night. They want to do a dinner train from Burlington to Middlebury. And I don't have anything else on there, so I think you've got to get an Uber cab back to Burlington. But they want to do a dinner train. That's an option that people can do if they want, but it's not part of the package deal. And June 1, that weekend, is a kickoff of the Burlington Jazz Festival. So our theme is all that jazz, Burlington Convention, all that jazz. There's a picture of the Burlington waterfront, in case you don't recognize it. And I wouldn't have recognized it. I had a nice picture on there of a waterfront. The only problem was that it had palm trees on it. You know, so they figured it wasn't the Burlington waterfront, you know. So the president of the Bennington Catamount Club sent me this picture to replace the other one. Burlington waterfront, if you're not familiar with it, has a bike trail that starts south of Burlington, and that's looking northbound, I think, on the trail that runs for about 15 to 18 miles. And the hotel is just a half a block from that area right there. It's a block from the Church Street Marketplace, where there's a lot of good shopping, the Underground Mall, lots of things to do up there in Burlington. All of you are invited to attend. There is a picture of the hotel. We're going to take it over, 257 rooms. We booked it for the entire weekend between the two districts. We expect to be able to take every room. We'll be scrambling for more rooms probably. There's a lot of space so that we can have our own district business, our own memorial service, our own four-way speech contest, our own exchange students, so on, and yet come together with the other district for fellowship, for the big convention speakers from RI and what have you, and just do the socialization. Now, unlike a lot of hotels, Burlington, the Hilton in Burlington has two sides to it. And this is the side looking out over the lake, kind of a nice view. That's a typical room. If you like that view and you want to get a room with that view, I suggest that when you get ready to sign up, you do so early. If you wait until the last week, you probably won't. You'll get one that looks on the other side, over the parking garage, in the back of the downtown buildings. Very nice rooms, but the view is nowhere near like that. So there's the Spirit of Ethan Allen, the 3 decks. We'll be taking over that boat. We've already reserved it for the dinner cruise. It's about a 2.5-hour, 3-hour cruise up and down the lake. We'll have a band on board so we can do some dancing and partying and generally misbehave because we'll be in New York for the most part out of the lake. And the dinner train, there is a train, sort of like the train here in White River, but not quite. But it's not really a dinner train, but I couldn't find a decent picture of a dinner train, so I just threw that one on. And there's a dining car. So that's pretty much my presentation. I'll be glad to answer any questions. Anybody's got any concerns or anything that they'd like to query me on? Wayne?
I have a special request on behalf of my wife,
Uh-oh.
who is going to be district governor in 2 years.
I know your wife pretty well, by the
Please,
way.
please take good care of that map that you're generating for all these clubs.
Oh yeah, I'll do that, yeah, yeah. The one advice I would say to her is do not rely on GPS. You know, no, we were headed for Bennington last week for, we were going down in the evening to have dinner with a bunch of the Rotarians, or some of the Rotarians. And I know how to get to Bennington. It's not very hard, you know. I mean, I went to Manchester and turned left and was going down Route 7. And we get down there just north of Arlington, and Mary turns on the GPS, because we had the address of the house plugged in. And it said, get off at exit 3. I'm about a quarter of a mile from exit 3, which is in Arlington, Vermont. So I swung off and I said, there's something wrong here. And I stopped right there and we got to looking. And it wanted me to go off Route 7, go down to old Route 7, 7A, go south on 7A, turn onto some side road, turn onto another road, and then back up on Route 7 in Shaftesbury, and then down to Bennington. Crazy. So, yeah, that's the advice I would give to her. And we'll guide her through it. She'll be in good hands with us, believe me. Yeah, she's in for a ride. She's in, you're in for a ride, buddy. Yeah.
That's why you're here.
Other questions or anything? No? I got a couple of other things I want to do real quick, like, if I could. I'm going to sneak by here for a second. I'm not going away. Yes, Phil.
What's the price of this weekend?
We had a meeting last Thursday night in Claremont with part of my committee and with our district treasurer. I rely on him to tell me what he's going to charge people. I was thinking it was going to be $800 per couple for the weekend. He told me I was crazy. It was only going to cost $750. So that's what we're looking at for a couple. $495 for a single, but $750. They've tried to hold it down to $700 for years. But if you want a decent venue, you just can't do it for anything other than that. We looked at other places, and it was going to cost upwards of $1,000 for some of them that we looked at. So, yeah, that's where we're at. And we'll be sending out information on that probably in early December, late November, and open registration right after the first of the year. And we'll take registration right up until about probably 2 weeks before or until we sell out. And with 2 districts, we will sell out. I really think so. So, having said that, one of the things that I can do as district governor, I didn't realize that I had so much access to so much information on so many Rotarians, you know. But I can go on to everybody's club and see rosters and so on. And so it occurred to me that somewhere out there in the district, there's some Rotarians that have spent a fair amount of time doing Rotary work. So I said, well, what can I do to honor them? And I said, well, hell, I can give them a piece of paper. So if there is a Richard Miller in the room, also known as a Kip, you know, would you come up here for just a minute, you young man? Or I can come to you if it's too far for you to walk. As I said, one of the things I can do is look at your roster. Yeah, you got there we go.
Still got it.
We got it. We can unplug that, actually, because we're all done. Why don't we just unplug it? Thank you. Oh, you need to lean on the chair. I'll come over there. How's that?
That's good.
Okay. So I have this certificate of appreciation. May it be known that Richard Kip Miller is hereby awarded this certificate in honor and with deep appreciation for his 47-plus years of service to the Rotary Club of White River Junction. Dated this first day of August 2017, Jonathan L. Springer, District Governor.
Thank you. It's quite an honor. Thank you.
Now, as I said, Kip, it's only a piece of paper, but it's got my signature on it, buddy, so don't lose it.
Thank you.
And then I'm looking down through the roster, and I said, there's another name that's fairly familiar. And this person's been around for quite a while, too. Not as long as Kip, but then I don't know that he's as old as Kip. So if there is a George Wenz in captivity around here, would you step forward, please? Oh, hold on, George, because yours is not as good as Kip's is yet. There we go. Yeah. Oh, get over here for your picture. Oh, let me read this to you. Certificate of appreciation. May it be known that George Wenz is hereby awarded this certificate in honor and with deep appreciation for his 44-plus years of service with the Rotary Club of White River Junction, dated this first day of August 2017. Thank you, sir.
We got a few left.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Happy to do it. One last thing, if Rich Hoffman would step up, please. It's traditional for the district governor to give to the president of each club a little banner, club banner, for this year's theme. So I'm happy to present this to you, Rich, and for the club.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Now, if you really like that performance and you want to see it again, Donna, when's it on again?
It will be on in about 2 weeks.
Okay.
All right. Any other news or notes for the good of the order? All rise, please. Four-way test.
Is it fair to all concerned?
Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And our club motto? Service is all self. See you next week.
Next week.